There's no rules and no roadmap, so do what you want with Donald Gray. All right, people. Somehow I'm still here. Somehow you're still watching. My name's Donald fucking Gray, and welcome to episode 2 of Do What You Want with Donald Gray. In the first episode, we discussed a lot of topics. And by a lot of topics, I just talked about myself for an hour. Now we're going to keep talking about myself, but we're going to get into some interesting stories because I spent the last 2 weeks in New York City and Los Angeles. And a lot happened while I was there. A lot of good, a little bit of bad, but mostly good. This will be a really fun episode, hopefully. So I haven't really been able to talk to anyone about like how the last 2 weeks have been. So this will be really fun because I get to talk to you guys first. You guys are getting the exclusive. Except not really, though, because when this episode comes out, I'll have already talked to my friends about my trip. We're going to start this episode out with a question. You're either a New York City person or a Los Angeles person, or neither. I always knew that I was a New York City person. And then right before I went to Los Angeles, I was kind of wondering, but what if? Like, what if I'm an LA person? Like, what if I go to LA and the City of Angels changes me? Which, side note, I was having this conversation with my friend that I went to LA with, that in the moment I had put together that they call it the City of Angels because, like, and the way I came to this conclusion is so dumb, but I'm going to explain why this is how I came to it. Basically, I took French in high school, not Spanish. I probably took Spanish like in 5th grade and like 6th grade, and that was it. I was like thinking about the word Angelus, and I was like, if you remove that last, E? That spells angels. So I'm like, is that why they say like the City of Angels? Is that what that is? And then I tell my friend this and she's like, well, Angelus is angels in Spanish. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like things are starting to add up now. Whatever. That was super dumb. But right before I went to LA, I started to wonder if LA could be for me. What I had heard about LA specifically before I went was that it was very suburban. It was huge, but it was suburban. A lot of people compared Tampa to LA. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, I'm not going to like LA because I barely like Tampa. I have a good routine in Tampa, but when people started to compare it to LA, and that's what I kind of should expect, I was like, maybe like there's just no way. Like, what am I going to do there? In fact, when I was planning my trip to LA, I literally texted the people that I knew down there and I was like, what even is there to do? And every single person said the same thing. They were kind of like, well, it depends on like what you like and like what you want to do, because no one really explained to me that it's a big city of neighborhoods. It's very similar to New York City in the sense that there's a ton of different areas you can go to. And by areas, I just mean like there's a ton of different neighborhoods. No one really explained that to me before I went. They were just kind of like, well, what's your vibe? Like, what do you want to do? And I was just like, I don't know. I just feel like certain places have like a reputation. You know what I mean? Like New York, there's Broadway and it's like Manhattan and it's just a huge city. Like I feel like each city is known for certain things. DC, there's like politics and the museum. You know, of course, you go to Miami for the clubs and the beach, and Nashville, there's also Broadway. Whatever. Every city has kind of a thing. And then besides Hollywood, I was kind of like, what else is there to do in LA? And also, I'm not in entertainment, like per se. Like, I don't know what to do there. So that was just a question that then all of a sudden, right? Because of course, TikTok and all the social media platforms are listening. I started to get a ton of TikToks on my For You page about like romanticizing Los Angeles. So then I started to wonder, wait, am I going to actually like it? Like, I don't really know what to expect, but maybe it'll be this like fun, super glitz and glamour kind of thing. So let's start with New York, because that's where I went to first. And in the first episode, I mentioned how the reason I went to New York to begin with was because I initially wanted to move to New York after college, but I accidentally moved to Florida instead. But I still wanted to go see New York just to like confirm this is where I wanted to be, because up until I guess the last week or two, I'd never been to New York City. 22 years old, never been. I technically, I guess I've been once. I went to go visit my one really good friend. Her name is Alyssa. She goes to nursing school at UPenn. And when I went to go visit her, we just kind of were like bored. And we were like, what if we just took a day trip to the city? It was my first time. This was back in November. So that's what we did. I drove up. I had my car, paid for like a parking garage. We saw a little bit of the city, but like it was kind of a tease. I got like a sliver of New York City, a sliver of Manhattan. And there's just so much more to New York than just Manhattan too. When I went there with Alyssa, I was just like, okay, well, this has been fun, but this doesn't really actually prove that I want to live here. So I planned another trip to go up to New York City to visit my one good friend from college. We cheered together. She lives in the city. She lives in this like high rise in Kips Bay. I had my flight booked for New York and we didn't really have any plans. As you can tell by now, it's not that I'm not a planner. Like I don't even have like these episodes. I have these episodes barely planned. I am a planner. I'm pretty organized. Just the last couple weeks, the last month, I haven't been able to get a break. Like I started a new job, was so busy leading up to these trips. I still am busy. Like next week, I'm moving to a new apartment. My one good friend, Alyssa, is actually coming to visit this weekend. And then I'm headed to Vegas the first week in September. Like I am tired. I'm so tired. If you can tell by the eye bags, I'm exhausted. I'm really trying to keep it going because I heard someone say recently that like once you get that momentum, don't stop. And I've been kind of feeling it. And it's been what's fueling me and what's been keeping me going. So back to New York. Nothing planned for when I went up there. I was like, I trust you. Just, I'll be there for the weekend. Take me where you want to go. I think the idea was that, you know, we would go out to some good spots to eat. We would go out and like party. And then I just see the city and like it would reconfirm that I wanted to live there. Now, obviously I have a job and I flew out on a Friday. It was Friday, August 1st, actually. And I told my boss that, hey, I'm going to be on a flight for like 2 or 3 hours. So if you don't hear from me, that's why. They were like, oh, where are you going? I was like, going to New York City, super excited. They were like, oh, that's perfect. My boss lives in New York City. Other boss lives outside the city, like somewhere upstate, I think. And then my one coworker, I work on like a really small team. She used to live in New York City. She went to NYU. Now she lives in Miami. But basically when I told them I was going to New York, they were like, that's perfect. We actually have a meeting with on Friday, so you can come to the meeting, and then they want to do a dinner afterwards. Actually, I don't even know if I can say that. My boss was basically like, we have a meeting with a client in the city on Friday. This client is a big client, very popular social media app. I don't know if I can necessarily say it because I don't know what my job will let me and not let me say. So I was super excited, except I had taken PTO from August 1st to August 11th. So I wasn't super excited to be working while I was on vacation. No, I'm kidding. I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'll do that. Like I didn't even care that I technically was off the clock or whatever. I got on my flight from Tampa to New York and I was like rushing to TPA. If you're from Tampa, you already know that this airport's freaking amazing. Like you can show up 20 minutes before boarding starts, get through security in time. And that's basically what I did. I was like running late the morning of. I just did like a collab with Fabletics. They like sent me like a full sweat set and like this duffel bag. And I was like filming that the morning I was leaving and I was a little late, whatever. Running to the airport, get to security. They're not letting anyone through. And I'm kind of freaking out because I'm like, okay, so here's the thing is that this meeting starts at 2. My flight wasn't going to land until 2:30. So I was already going to be late to the meeting and that was fine. And I was flying into LaGuardia. I've been through JFK before. Don't really know how I feel about JFK. LaGuardia, I don't like. And I'll explain why I don't like it. They finally let people through security. I was like, okay, thank God, because my flight was like leaving in 10 minutes. So whatever. Security moves super fast at TPA. Hop on my flight. We're smooth sailing. The flight ends up taking longer than it was supposed to. I don't really know why. Maybe it was just delayed or we left the gate late, whatever. I don't land in New York at LaGuardia until, I don't even know. Like it just was not the time I was supposed to land. And you know what's so funny is when I texted my boss, I was like, oh yeah, I can probably make it there around 3. Like I don't even think I landed till like 4 or something, or like 3:30 or whatever. And he was just like, oh, that's ambitious that you think you're going to get out of LaGuardia and into the city that quickly. By the time I got out of LaGuardia and then into the city, it was like 4 o'clock or maybe even 5 at this point. I can go pull up the texts. Let me look up my boss's number. My first text to him, hey, sorry, the traffic is terrible. It's looking like a 4:30 to 4:45 ETA. He said, no worries. At 4:44, I said 5 minutes away. So it was looking like 4:50, 5 o'clock, whatever. He's like, no worries. We'll head down to the restaurant, actually. We might have you come up. There's some crazy views on 57. I kind of forgot how tall the buildings are. Like when I got to my friend's apartment, She was on like she lived on the 32nd floor or something, and when I got into the elevator, like I was struggling to find like the 32 button. There were so many floors that I was like, where the I wish I might have a picture of it because I like recorded everything while I was there. There were two other people in the elevator, and I like am standing there like 15 seconds blinking, trying to figure out where the 32 button was, because that's how many buttons there were, because that's how many floors there were in this building. I looked at like when I got out of LaGuardia, I looked at the Uber app. I saw that the Ubers were like $70, and I was like, ooh, no, we're not doing that. And then I figured out like some shuttle situation that was like $20. Except it doesn't really take you to like where you want in the city. It'll take you to like a point that's closest to. I ended up basically getting out at the first point or whatever, like not the one I was supposed to, because I'm like, I think it's going to be faster for me to get out of this Uber, call another Uber from the spot that this Uber dropped me off at, and then drop my stuff. Because that's the other thing is I had like my carry-on and like my duffel bag. I had to go drop that stuff off at my friend's apartment and then run to this office building in Midtown too, on top of that, right? Running super, super late. I finally get to my friend's apartment building, throw my luggage into her apartment, say hi, look at her apartment really quickly. Which, side note, I have no clue how I keep getting away with this. I have this carry-on. It was like $50 from Target, got it ages ago. It is a beast. Overpack. I'm an overpacker because I'd rather be over prepared than under prepared. What ends up happening is that my carry-on is like a box. It is like a brick. Like it is a weapon that if I were to pick it up and throw it at someone, it would knock you out because that's how much is in there. And it's also always a little embarrassing when I'm going to the airport because I'm looking at everyone else and they have these small, tiny carry-ons or like a backpack. And I'm genuinely confused how people do it because I just like, maybe it's because I sweat a lot, so I just need a lot of clothing options. I don't even know. I think guys' clothes are just thicker, just whatever. This carry-on is a beast. Like it is so thick. American Airlines recently, and I want to say recently-ish, like I noticed it in March when I flew up to Virginia, implemented this policy that if the second zipper on your carry-on doesn't close, you have to check it in. That was never a thing before. I've flown American so many times. I noticed that in March, so I was kind of worried. I was like, ooh. I made sure that it was closed before I flew to New York, but they did get me. They did get me when I flew to LA. So I'm lugging this carry-on in the middle of the city. I throw my stuff into my friend's apartment. I call another Uber, head to the building, get up to like the 60th floor. View was insane. And then we go to dinner. Oh, another really key detail that I forgot to point out. This is the first time I'm ever meeting my boss, or at least one of my bosses in person. I had never met any of my bosses. I work fully remote. So that was really interesting because I kind of didn't really know what to say or how to act or whatever. I mean, we talk all the time, but like in person, it's just a different vibe. I wasn't sure. I've also never really been to like client meetings like this. And I'm in the middle of New York. So I was just kind of like, what is going on? Like, this is a lot happening really fast. The owner of our company is with us. First time he actually makes a joke to our client. This is the first time I'm seeing Donald. Like, I love Donald, but like, I don't know who he is. And I was like, like, should I like laugh? Like, am I laughing too much? I was just overthinking everything, whatever. We go to dinner. We went to this restaurant in Bryant Park, great restaurant. And we get everything. We get so many appetizers. Like, they just order every single thing possible. And we also get drunk. I hadn't eaten all day up until this point. Like it's 6 o'clock and not like literally, I think I had the pretzels from the airplane and that was it, like nothing else. And they start ordering drinks and I'm like, okay, like to be honest, this is my first time in front of my bosses. Like I'm going to take this a little slower. Like I can handle my alcohol, trust, but it's just, I don't want to come off like a drunk idiot for the first time in front of my bosses, in front of these really important clients, big social media app whose name I will not say, but rhymes with chick, chalk, whatever. I think the first drink I get was like an espresso martini or something because I needed to wake up, or maybe it was like a dirty martini. My boss gets a dirty martini. He orders the duck. I've never had duck. He makes me try it. He's like, it's not the best. I'm like, I don't know what duck's really supposed to taste like, but I didn't love it. Kind of reminded me of turkey. I order like steak or something. The food just keeps coming. The drinks keep coming. very, very quickly, I know that I'm getting drunk. My boss is like, oh, get another one, get another one. The thing about me is that I succumb to peer pressure, specifically when it comes to drinking, very, very easily. So they're all ordering another one. So then I turn to the waiter and I'm like, actually, I'll do. We get super, super drunk. It was actually a great time. Nothing bad happened. I didn't say anything stupid. But what did end up happening was that I ended up going out with our client later that night. My boss goes home to his wife, but me and the client were like talking and we're vibing. We have birthdays in the same month. She also has a best friend whose birthday is like the day after hers. So that was like that weird synchronicity where my best friend, her birthday is the day before mine. We're vibing. So I head back to my friend's apartment. I'm like pretty tipsy at this point. My friend already has drinks for us ready to pregame. I'm like, here's the plan. We're going to K-Town and we're meeting up with this client that I just had dinner with. It's going to be a great time. So that's what we did. We showed up to this bar. I don't even know what the bar was called. I was being texted and told to show up here, and I showed up, and it was such a good time, except that the drinks kept coming. The client, they were ordering, it wasn't sake, it was soju. And like, I wasn't even thinking about how much at this point I had to drink. They're just like they're refilling our drinks for us. Like a new bottle would come and they would just pour it into these like mini glasses. We would take it back. More like another one. I got so drunk that night. We ended up doing karaoke later that night. That was super fun. And listen, I'm like 22. This is the first time I'm in New York City, really. This is the first time I'm at a client meeting. Like, I'm kind of like, is this too much? Like, am I doing too much? Like, should I go home? Like, I don't know how drunk I am, how acceptable this is. I don't know if this is like, am I going to get fired when I come back home for getting too drunk and partying with our client, whatever. Next morning, wake up, hungover, obviously. Hungover AF. But the client texted me and was like, had such a good night. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up because it just made me feel really good and like better about how drunk I got. But I didn't do anything embarrassing, which is the important part. She said, OMG, last night was so fun. So glad you guys came out to hang out. I can't believe we stayed out so late. Like, I think I got back at like 5 a.m. Like, I remember the Uber picking us up at like 4:30 or whatever. By the time my head hit the pillow, it was like 5 or whatever. And I'm sure I'm leaving out so many important details. If I had planned this episode better, like this might be a little bit more funny or entertaining to listen to. If you ever get invited to a client dinner and they start pouring drinks down your throat, it can be a very good time, but also very scary because you don't want to say or do anything that's embarrassing or that'll get the client upset. Side tangent though. I was on this mandatory meeting on like Monday, and they actually it was like a meeting about like how to treat your clients, like just company-wide meeting. And I'm like half paying attention, whatever. Towards the end of it, they're like, they basically validated every single thing that I did. And I was like, okay, that's literally what I did like yesterday with this client. Get to know your client personally. Hang out with them. Get on a texting basis. I was like, check. And when I was talking with my team that week, they were actually so happy that I did that. Did I know what I was doing? No. But they were so happy. And it just ended up being okay. And I was like, okay, great, cool. Let's run it back. This client, she told me, oh, I'm actually going to be in LA next week. And I was like, no freaking way. I'm going to be in LA next week. Like, just like, what are the chances? So we planned to like meet up. That didn't end up actually happening. She was celebrating her friend's birthday. Obviously I was there for my birthday and my best friend's birthday, but it was just so cool how like quickly we connected. And now I feel like comfortable with this client in my job, and my bosses just are so happy that like I made a client relationship. Mind you, I've been at this company for 2 months, so I'm still relatively new. Don't know if this is something I should be doing, but apparently I was doing it right. So what this episode's actually about, are you a New York City person or an LA person? I think I might be both. I really think I might be both. New York was great. My friends and I did a lot. I basically explored like all of Lower Manhattan for the 5 days that I was there. I was only supposed to be there for 3 days. The reason I ended up staying 2 extra days was because I ended up going on a date. It was the night before I was supposed to leave. I'm texting on Tinder. I'm like, hey, I'm actually supposed to be going down to DC for 2 days, and then I'm catching my flight to LA from DC. And then they're like, damn, that sucks. Like, I really wanted to go on a date. And I'm like going back and forth in my head. I'm like, okay, well, would my friend be mad at me for crashing one more night? Like, hopefully not. She told me to go on it. We were talking about it. That's the other thing, is that my Hinge and Tinder were popping off. Like, I don't struggle to get matches or anything like that, or likes on Hinge or Tinder. And I'm really not on the dating apps. I don't really use it. I use it very conservatively. But like, when I landed in New York City, like, immediately I had to like turn notifications. I don't normally have them on, but I actually turned them on when I got to New York because I just wanted to see like the difference between what kind of attention I was getting in Tampa versus like DC. Like, I had to turn them back off because I was like, this is crazy. Like, and I honestly, I'm like listening to myself say that now. And I'm like, that's not what I mean. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that New York has 8 million people. Okay. So there's just like a way bigger pool. I was just pleasantly surprised. I actually ended up purchasing Tinder Gold, which I'm not really proud of that. But the reason I did that was because it was just making it easier to go through all the likes. Like, I didn't have to do any work. I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to scroll and I'll see who I like. And then it's an instant match. I ended up going on a date. I had like a ticket. I was going to take the Amtrak down from New York to DC. I ended up canceling the train ticket. Didn't get a refund for it. It was unfortunately non-refundable. And I'm thinking back to when I purchased the ticket too. I was like, maybe I will just get the $6 like the insurance or whatever next time I will, because I did something spontaneous and I was like, all right, I'm just going to stay in New York for an extra day. I was only supposed to stay for one extra day. Then our chief revenue officer at my company like puts me and my boss in a group chat, and he's like, hey, like, we want you to meet with another client. And I'm like, okay, I could technically do that, but I was supposed to leave tonight and I would need like a hotel. They ended up paying for a hotel. It was great. So I go on 2 dates. I'm not going to really like go into how the dates went on this episode, but they went pretty well. I'll say that much. They went very, very well. Basically, I have a New York City bae. I sound so dumb. New York was great. I'm trying to think about anything else. Oh, something did happen in New York. And I'm actually really scared to talk about this because I still haven't fully addressed the situation with the person that was upset with me. But basically, I'm just going to get right into it. All right. There were these pair of shorts, and I'll put a picture of these shorts, what they look like. There were these pair of shorts that I brought to New York with me that I should not have brought to New York with me. The reason why was because those shorts did not belong to me. The person who they did belong to didn't know that I had them to begin with. And they were very upset when they found out that I had these shorts with me, specifically more so that they were in New York City with me and they didn't even know I had the shorts to begin with. Now I say that and I sound like an awful person because it's like, what did you do? Did you go through their closet, take their shorts, whatever? No, that is not what happened. The week before I left for New York, I was hanging out with my one good friend, her roommate actually, and we went on a run. It was super hot. If you know anything about running in Florida, you either run before sunrise or sunset or after sunset. But we decided to run at like 6 o'clock. Sun was blazing. We were dying. By the time we got back to her apartment, we were drenched, like soaked. She takes a shower. She asks if I want to take a shower. We were already supposed to hang out that night, and I was like, if I go back home, I don't want to have to drive all the way back over here. So sure, I'll take a shower. I use her shower. I ask her if she has like an extra pair of clothes because I'm not going to put on the clothes that I'm fully drenched in sweat. She hands me a t-shirt. She doesn't have a pair of pants or an extra pair of shorts or something to give me, which how or why, I don't know, whatever. So she goes into her roommate's room. We're all friends, by the way. I actually used to live with them like a couple months ago. Gives me a pair of shorts. I think they're from Aerie. They're flannel. Like, they're comfortable, but like they're nothing super nice as far as I'm aware. Didn't think these shorts were going to be that big of a deal. But the reason why these shorts ended up being a super big deal was just because a lot got lost in translation between me initially getting the shorts and this person finding out that I had the shorts while I was in New York. Basically, the morning after karaoke, that super crazy night with the client, we went out, got drunk, whatever. I made a TikTok where I was wearing these shorts. The TikTok had nothing to do with the fucking shorts. I just wore them to bed when I got home at 5 a.m. the night before. And the TikTok was just like, haven't even been in New York for 24 hours, but so far it's chewed me up and spit me out. You can't find the TikTok now because I made it friends only just because, I don't know, I felt weird about the situation, even though we follow each other on TikTok. So she can still see the TikTok about me wearing the shorts, whatever. I posted that TikTok Saturday morning, one of our friends in this group chat, 777, commented on it and was just like, oh, nice shorts or whatever. I replied to the comment and I was just like, oh, I think these are, and I name dropped the person because I didn't think me wearing these shorts were going to be that big of a deal. I just wasn't really thinking about it, just in the sense that I guess I just didn't really think about how the fact that she didn't know I had the shorts, let alone they came on a trip with me, because they were given to me by her roommate. And I share clothes with my friends all the time. So basically, Sunday, my friend in New York and I decided to go do a Pilates class, which I did Pilates for the first time in New York City. I don't know how. I'm a very fit and active guy. I do yoga a lot. I'm actually doing yoga later today. I did like bar in college. I was on cheer. Like, Pilates is a different beast. Like, different beast. And then, you know what's so funny is when we get into the class, like, the instructor comes up in front of me and she's like, oh, like, are you my new guy? Like, she puts me on the spot and I'm like, oh yeah. And she's explaining to me like how the machines work, which thank God she did, because I'm like looking at I've never seen machines like this. There's like strings and hooks, and I don't even know how to describe, like, just go to a Pilates class or look up what a Pilates machine looks like. It was a hard class. Granted, I was hungover from having gone out so much. I don't think there was like a single day in New York that there wasn't a single day in New York that I hadn't had a drink. And I really wasn't eating that much because I was in New York City. So I was trying to be a little bit conservative with how much I was spending. I probably still spent so much money. I was dying by the end of this Pilates class. I come out of this Pilates class. I see that I have a missed FaceTime call from my friend. And she is like, oh my God, her roommate is upset about the shorts. And this other person must have been talking shit. This is where things start to get lost in translation. This friend of mine said that this other person was talking shit because she didn't know how her roommate found out that I had the shorts. At this point, she didn't know because she had lost her phone like the night before. So she hadn't seen the TikTok that I made. So there was just no way for her to like piece together that like I taking the shorts with me. She kind of just operated under the assumption that the shorts were still in her apartment. But the reason they weren't in her apartment was because when they were given to me, I ended up spending the night in their apartment. So it wasn't until the next day that I went home, and then I just had the shorts with me and I packed everything for my 11-day trip. Like at 1 a.m. the day I was leaving, I just accidentally threw them in there with me. But also they're a pair of like flannel shorts. I really didn't think it was gonna be that big of a deal. I just wasn't thinking. It was late at night. I don't know if anyone's following right now because talking about like the chain of events for why everyone was so upset at each other makes me very confused, because basically what I've come down to, the conclusion is that one person was missing information, another person was missing information, I was missing information, and everyone has different boundaries. And I learned very quickly what certain people's boundaries are. So while my friend calls me right after I got on Pilates, I'm just like, oh my God, like I fully understand why they would be upset that I had the shorts. They didn't know I had them. Truthfully, I didn't go into their closet and take them. So I think she should be more upset at you for giving them to me, but I'll obviously get them back to her as soon as I can, whatever. And I'm not saying that to throw my friend under the bus. I'm just saying that like we were all roommates at one point. We're all friends. So I just generally didn't think it would be that big of a deal. But if you're going to be upset at anyone, why would you be more upset at me? The reason she was so upset at me is because she didn't realize that, one, initially she didn't know that I didn't go in and take them. That's what it looked like when she saw the TikTok. And she was actually on a flight back to Tampa. So like right when she saw that TikTok. So she had taken off and she was just annoyed and pissed off. And then my friend had called me to be like, oh my God, they're upset and whatever. So when all that happened, basically when my friend landed, it made it look like I was being shady because I didn't tell the friend, oh, I also have the shorts with me right now. But I didn't know that I had to say that because in my head, all I'm thinking is, why are we upset about a pair of shorts? And yeah, I do have the shorts with me, but I just like didn't really think to like I had nothing to hide. I posted the TikTok publicly where everyone of my friends followed me. I just kind of wasn't thinking about it, whatever. This pair of shorts ended up just causing me such a headache while I was in New York City trying to enjoy what I thought was going to be my last day there, or I think my second to last day there or whatever. It just caused a real big stir in like everyone. And that's all I'm going to say about these shorts. I could have probably done a better job at telling the story about these shorts, but just know that it like was such a big deal. Like it was just such a big deal. If you have any further questions or comments, take them up with God, because at this point, I still have the shorts. The friend told me I could keep them. I think she was being petty when she said that. I mean, she was being for real. Like, I don't think she wants the shorts anymore. I almost left them in New York because that's how annoyed I was with this whole situation. I was like, okay, whatever. Moving on. That's a little bit about why I went to New York City in the first place. Amazing. Had such a good time. Confirmed that I definitely want to move there a year from now. I'm moving into a new apartment in a week. My lease ends next August. So the goal is to be in New York City next August. And I'm going to hold myself accountable to that. And I want you guys to hold me accountable to that too, hopefully. The date went great. Shorts controversy, yada, yada, yada. Dinner was good, whatever. Los Angeles. Oh, Los Angeles. You were amazing. And you were actually way more than I expected. And I was surprised because I think I said it already, but when I landed in LAX, I look around me and I was like, what the, like, why would anyone want to live here? The first day or two, so basically, the way that this trip worked was that I flew in on a different flight than my friend. Like, I spent the first day in Los Angeles by myself. I had a rental car. It was great. I met up with one of my old coworkers, actually, who I used to work with. We got lunch at this Chinese restaurant. Best Chinese I've ever had in my entire life. Like, I actually need to find the name of it because it was so freaking good. There's just no way I'm going to be able to find the name of it. I'm going to have to text her. It was so freaking good. I tried like these pancake scallions. I don't know if that's what it's actually called, but the scallions were just like so good. The portion sizes were huge. I could go on and on about this Chinese restaurant. We had, like, the where we had our lunch was like in this like train inside the restaurant. It was just such a cool experience. When we were booking the trip for LA, I was very confused on like where we were going to stay because we kind of had a rough itinerary for the things we wanted to do, and we had a rental car, and you just have to get a car in LA to driving city. Like, there's just, public transport's not that great over there. It's not like New York where you can just kind of walk around, take the bus or the train if you need to. You need a car. We're in LA, but when we were trying to figure out like where to book our hotel or Airbnb or whatever, I was kind of in between two places. There was like a hotel that was closer to like West Hollywood, but the idea that I had was I wanted to be central to all of LA. Like, we had a day plan in Santa Monica. We wanted to drive through Malibu, specifically to drive down PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway. I kind of wanted to see downtown LA. I don't think there was anything there I really wanted to do, to be honest. Beverly Hills. Like, we just wanted to be in a good central location. We ended up settling on Koreatown. And I actually think it was a pretty good place to be. We were like 15 minutes away from West Hollywood, which is where we went out one night. But like I said, the first day I was there by myself. And what I was expecting was like this huge glitz and glamour thing from, you know, romanticizing Hollywood and Los Angeles and the fact that celebrities live there. But a lot of LA is kind of ugly. A lot of it. It depends on the neighborhood, but some of it is kind of ugly. I hope I'm not offending anyone when I say that, but it just kind of is. It wasn't until I think the second or third day that I was like, oh, now I get it. And the reason why the second or third day was when I realized it was because that was the Beverly Hills day. So it started to make sense why people live here and why like the celebrities live there. That area, super nice. Obviously went to Erewhon, tried the Hailey Bieber smoothie. That was actually really good. It was really fucking good. I ended up trading smoothies with my friend who I went to LA with. She got like the mango one, which was $1 cheaper than the Hailey Bieber smoothie, like the strawberry glaze, I think it's called. It's $20. The mango one was $19. The reason I traded with her was because just it's heavy. Like, it's worth the $20. Or I don't know if it's necessarily worth the $20, but it's a hefty freaking smoothie. I used to work a tropical smoothie cafe, by the way, side note, when I was in college, and like just comparing, like I still remember what the smoothie tastes like. This was they put their heart and soul into that smoothie. I don't even know. Whatever. So Beverly Hills Day was great. Did shopping around what is it even called? I don't even know what the area is called, but Beverly Hills is great. Lots of cute stores, lots of great photo ops. That's the other thing, is the LA super like influencers in the wild, left and right, cameras. Like, it was normal for people to be walking around with these huge rigs and setups. So I felt very comfortable like vlogging, taking pictures of everything. It was great. It was actually, I was having such a good time. We did a night in WeHo. This is actually, so Friday night was probably my most, like the most fun and my favorite night of being in LA. Reason being, we had a lot planned and it was just a long, long night. That was the same day we went to Beverly Hills or whatever. I had a reservation for Sir. If you don't know what Sir is, Sir stands for, it's either super unique restaurant or sexy unique restaurant. I think it's sexy unique restaurant. It's the restaurant that's in Vanderpump Rules. I only started watching Vanderpump Rules about 2 or 3 months ago. My roommates, Ali and Callie, got me into it. They would throw it on the TV. If you've never seen this reality show, it's freaking crazy. Like, I don't watch reality TV, but this show, like, I think after season 1, I was like, how do they, first off, how's it been going on for 12 seasons? But second off, how do they keep agreeing to do it? Because every single person in the show acts like they hate each other. That's the novelty of Vanderpump Rules that I don't fully understand yet. I haven't finished it. I'm probably on like season 5 or 6 or whatever, and obviously I've been gone for the last 2 weeks. This show is crazy. But the show is based off of these like servers that work at this restaurant called Sir. It's owned by Lisa Vanderpump. Lisa Vanderpump was on, I think, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So that's kind of like where her background is a little bit. Since I've been watching that show, I instantly knew that when I was going to LA, I was going to get a reservation for Sir. I had to put my card down. A lot of people asked me like what Sir, like the vibe was and the experience, how it went. I don't want to burst anyone's bubble by saying that it was underwhelming. But what I will say, it was a cool experience. Like if you watch Vanderpump, it was really cool to be there for the novelty of it all. Everyone there was like taking pictures. Peter was there, which if you don't know who Peter is, he's the manager of Sir. He's in the show. He's not like a main character, at least up until the point that I've watched, but he's like, you would know him if you watch the show. He showed up and I like gasped and I was like, oh my God. And I wasn't going to fanboy or anything like that. I did end up getting a picture with him, so I'm super happy about that. But he was super nice, and it was kind of that was probably like the only celebrity or whatever that I met when I was down there. But yeah, like the restaurant itself was great. We only stayed for happy hour because I had tickets for the Comedy Store. Sir was great, but it was kind of gross. It was a little grimy. I mean, I don't know. I the lighting in there also could have been better. Like it just was kind of grimy, a little dingy, whatever. But I had a good time. The drinks were good. My friend and I split like a pitcher of red sangria, red wine or whatever sangria. And it was a good time. I had such a good time. We went to the Comedy Store afterwards. The Comedy Store, if you don't know, is this famous, like I think a lot of celebrities or like big comedians go there. It's kind of like Laugh Factory. I've never been to a comedy show. Okay. So I wasn't really sure what to expect, but it was recommended to me by a lot of people. So when I was booking the tickets for the Comedy Store, they have like different rooms. There's like the original room. There's like, I think the red room or something. I might be making that up. They have different rooms and different comedians will be in the different rooms. I don't know. The website's a little confusing. There's like not a really good way to know which room to book. You kind of just taking your chances. Everyone's going to have their preferences for which comedians they want to go see. I booked the original room. And the reason why I booked the original room was because the day that I went, Friday, August 8th, they had this show called The New Material Show where the comedians would be displaying their new material. And the headliners included Whitney Cummings, Dan Levy, a couple other people. But the person that specifically caught my eye was Dan Levy. The reason why was because if you've ever seen the show Schitt's Creek, or the actor that plays David Rose, his name is Dan Levy. So I was like, I didn't know he was a comedian, but like absolutely purchasing tickets to that. And I had heard of Whitney Cummings before, so I was like, okay, she should probably be funny too, whatever. You already know what I'm about to say. I go to the Comedy Store, sitting there. They have these like bags that you have to put your phone in because they obviously don't want people recording the show or whatever. And then like the bag's locked, like you have to go to the front to get it unlocked. It's kind of cool. I was like, what is this bag? I need this for like when I'm working, so I'm not on my phone constantly. My friend had like her Canon like power shot camera with her. The bouncer was like, I gotta hold on to that. It's like locked it down, this setup at the Comedy Store. But it was a great experience. Dan Levy was not the Dan Levy that I thought it was going to be. They look very, very similar. Because like when I figured it out that this was not Dan, because I remember he like walked on stage and I was like, it's a little different than like I remember him from Schitt's Creek. This is not the Dan. And you know what's so embarrassing is that I told so many people that I was so excited to go to the Comedy Store to see this specific actor from Schitt's Creek. It just simply wasn't him. It was a good show. He had a decent set. I don't think I really laughed at too many of his jokes. You know whose jokes I did laugh at? Who I don't even think she was part of like the headliners for this show, but she just was there like to begin with, was this Asian comedian. And I hate that that's the way I'm describing her because I literally have no clue what her name is. I don't know who she was. She was the funniest person that I've ever listened to in my life. Her delivery, the timing, the jokes. She made, I don't know if I can I repeat the joke? No, I definitely probably can't. I definitely can't repeat the jokes. Like, that was the whole reason the phones were on lockdown, right? But just this, I still am trying to figure out who this comedian was. I can't find her because I don't think she was a part of the show. I think she just was like either doing stand-up before the show started. She was so freaking funny. And the only thing I know about her was that she was Asian. That's it. And each comedian was up there for probably about like 15 or so minutes, maybe 15, 20 or so minutes. Before I went to the Comedy Store, I thought we were going to be there till like 11 p.m. The show started at 7. So I kind of was like, oh, okay, like as long as I see Dan Levy, and even if I don't, like we'll leave around like 10:30. The sets were pretty short. So we ended up being done by like 8:15, maybe 8:30. So it was an early night. So we decided to go out in WeHo, or West Hollywood, and we started this one bar, and we're kind of just like what's the vibe? We, again, loose planning on this trip, no clue what we're really doing. I look outside the bar that we're currently at, and I see Pump and Tom Tom just sitting casually right next to it, like together to each other. And I was like, oh my God, we have to go there. If you don't know what Pump and Tom Tom is, those are like the other two bars that Lisa Vanderpump opens like, on the show Vanderpump Rules. So went into there. For everyone that's wondering how that was, same kind of experience with Sir, just a little underwhelming. I kind of was like, okay, cool. It's cool for the novelty of saying, oh, I went to Pump and Tom Tom and Sir, but it's just like any other bar, to be honest. So we're kind of trying to figure out what to do. We're like, do we want to go clubbing? Do we want to just go to another bar? Do we want to call it a night? We had started so early that we still had like a long night ahead of us. We end up seeing that there's this like club around the corner from this strip of bars that we were at called the Abbey. And I'm so excited to talk about the Abbey. If you don't know what the Abbey is this straight club. I think it's technically a straight club that is gay themed. Or at least I read that on Reddit when I looked up, did some research afterwards. We stumbled into the Abbey. And when we first got there, it was pretty empty. Like there was not much going on, but the music was lit. Like this is an outdoor/indoor kind of bar situation. Crazy. Dance floor is crazy. They have these male strippers just doing their thing. The Abbey ended up turning into like literally one of the best experiences I've ever had. Like the most fun night I've ever had, like probably ever in my life, to be honest. And the reason why was because obviously we started out the night super early. So when we first got there, even though there was no one there, we just were kind of like sticking it out. People showed up around like 11 p.m. And this place gets bumping. Like the music is just amazing. The EDM, they had the lights, they had the smoke. It was like, if you've ever been to the Coco Bongo in Cancun, that is an experience, and this is another one. And I wouldn't say they're similar because they're not the same at all, but like just the level of like stimulation that you feel while you're there is kind of like what it reminded me of. This was such a good night. Like I'm talking drunken makeout, phone dead, lost my friend because she was off into the nether doing God knows what. Like I met these two best friends who ended up helping me out because my phone was dead and I couldn't find my friend. They were about to leave. I hop into their Uber with them. Halfway through us getting home, like they see like a restaurant, I guess, that they wanted to go to. So we're like, Uber, stop. Like we're gonna get out here. The restaurant was closed. So then we're just like, oh my God, I can't even describe how fun this night was. End up back at their place. They make bulgogi. I don't even really know what bulgogi is. I'd heard of bulgogi ramen, and I know there's like bulgogi sauce, I think, but this was like a rice thing. And I remember like she was making it in the kitchen, and I was like, oh, like that's weird. Like I didn't know it was rice. And she was like, it's always rice. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm just really uncultured and uneducated. I don't even know. Just such a fun night. We made this TikTok, this like dancing TikTok to a Lady Gaga song. What's it called? I can't remember the song. Went super viral, I guess. I learned it in like 20 minutes, super drunk. And yeah, it was just such a good night. somehow got back to my hotel. I say somehow. I'm sure I just called like an Uber or something. Got back to my hotel. My friend was fine. We woke up the next day. Such a good night. I would recommend the Abbey. Now, other people would not. If you do some research into this bar, apparently it's a really popular spot for people to get roofied, or I don't know. People say that they've gotten their phone stolen. I made a TikTok about the Abbey that did really well, and people were commenting like, "Oh my God, like I'm so glad you had a good time, and you still have your phone with you. That's crazy." Like just really funny comments, but also like just be careful when you go. If you go, I would recommend it. Everyone was like, you have a good amount of nights in WeHo until you don't, or at least at the Abbey until you don't. I obviously don't live in LA, so I don't know the next time I'll ever be there. I had a good time. But if you do decide to go, just be careful. I did the Hollywood sign hike. That was super cool. I got a lot of good pictures. Oh my God. When I went to New York, I was taking pictures of everything. And I think what I basically decided to do, this is like my creative process for when I'm posting on Instagram, is I put every single picture I take, whether it's good or bad, into an album, and I'll put like NYC dump or whatever. I had like 67 photos and I was like, damn, like how am I going to sort through all this? Whatever. When I went to LA, I took 560 photos. So I thought that was going to be even worse. I was able to sort through it pretty quickly. I've already posted the highlights from my LA trip. I really want a Canon G7X. Those things are like impossible to get. Actually, while I was in New York, randomly woke up in my hotel room at like 3 a.m. I don't know why. I checked my phone. I got the notification from like those apps that'll tell you when something's in stock, and it was for the Canon. And I was like, oh my God, now's my time to shine. I book it. Like I press add to cart, order the full thing, confirmed. So I really thought I got a Canon G7X until the next morning I get an email from like the supplier that they needed to confirm my payment or verify it or whatever. So I'm like calling them because this is how like hot of a commodity a Canon G7X is. They confirm it, whatever, it's fine. And then literally not even 30 seconds after I get off that phone, I get a email and then a phone call saying that Canon oversold it to the supplier and that they had to cancel my order. So still in search of a Canon G7X, looking in Facebook Marketplace, looking everywhere I can. One of these days I'll get my hands on it. So yeah, LA pleasantly surprised me. I did a lot. Oh, another random side quest that I completely forgot about, which was a pretty big deal, but like, I don't know, it would have been a bigger deal if it panned out differently. I went on The Price is Right. That was super fun. When I was like looking for things to do in LA, I like saw somewhere someone recommend going to just get like tickets to be on like the shows that they filmed down there, like the game shows. And I was like, oh my God, that'd be super fun. So I requested tickets for The Price is Right and for a live taping of Big Brother, because they do eviction nights live or in the studio audience or whatever. I didn't get the tickets for Big Brother, and I was so sad because that was what I was more excited about. I love Big Brother, but we did get to go on The Price is Right, my friend and I. We weren't contestants. The way it works is like you get the tickets, you show up super early, you do all the paperwork. There's like VIP tickets or like priority tickets, and then there's like the general admission. We had the general admission, so you're not guaranteed to get in if there's like a ton of people in line waiting. We got in, did all the paperwork. I have all the pictures and the videos and stuff. You go in and you do an audition, okay? And there's like, Jason was his name. Jason was amazing. He's the producer there. My friend ruined my audition. And basically what happened is we go in, they go down the line, and my friend and I were at the end of the line. So we were last to go for like our group or whatever. And they just ask you a couple questions. My friend, I don't know if she just got super nervous. She started speaking for me, like didn't really give me a chance to actually audition and show my personality or whatever. And it's all in good fun or whatever. But that was my time to shine, to get selected to go on The Price is Right. Didn't end up happening. It's fine. We still sat in the audience. It was a super fun time. I talked to like the announcer. He like called me out and he was like, "What's your name?" Like they give you these name tags, and like the way they like wrote my name, the way it was showing on my name tag was weird. That was super fun. And it was just super fun to like watch everyone like go and like guess like the prices of everything. It's actually a lot harder than it looks. I was pretty accurate. Like I was playing the game internally in the audience, just like seeing what I could get right. And I was actually, that's why I was so excited to go on. I really wanted to go on because I genuinely think I could have won like a new car or something. Maybe I'll have to book another trip back to LA, try to get on again. There are people who go on like all the time, like that are constantly, the producer was telling us about this one lady who apparently like does like a red-eye flight to LA, waits all morning, gets on the show, and then takes like a super late flight back home the next day. And she's done it like like 14, 15 times, whatever, on like the last try she finally got on the show. The Price is Right is not a super popular show today, I don't think. So it was a little bit of an older crowd, but there were some younger people there too. It was overall a really fun experience. If you are going to LA, I would recommend going to on-camera audiences and like going to find a show that you want to be on, or like and requesting tickets. They're not hard to get at all. My one good friend that lives down there ended up getting tickets for there's like one, or The Voice or something like that, and then I think like Jeopardy or something. I don't know. He saw me go and was like, oh wait, that's like super cool. Like he's been living there for a little bit. Didn't even realize he could go do that. That was a really fun experience. And LA in total just really surprised me. And Santa Monica was an interesting experience. We went to the pier. I got pulled into like this street show with this guy who was doing like backflips off of people. We just weren't having a good time in Santa Monica. Santa Monica was just a little more, there was a lot going on. And we were like, okay, we've had enough of this. It was giving like super carnival vibes. Like there was just a lot of people, but it was a fun time nonetheless. PCH was great. I went to Pepperdine. If you don't know, Pepperdine's where they filmed Zoe 101. So that was kind of fun to be there. I just did a lot. I did a lot in LA, and it was just such a good week in my life. And leaving LA, normally when I go on a trip, normally when I go on vacation, I'm sad to go back home, because when I go back home, it's like reality sets in, and then all I think about is, damn, I wish I was still on vacation. LA, I was like, I'm gonna miss this place. Not because I'm sad to go back home. I'm actually really excited to go back home. At this point, I'd been traveling for 11 days straight, but because I just liked it a lot more than I thought I would. And I could definitely see myself not living there, I don't think like full time, but like being like doing a little bi-coastal situation. Live in New York City, live in LA, or not live, but like I need a reason to come back. The people I met there were super cool. The things I did, like it was just a week of a lot of fun. And I feel like it's hard to have fun as an adult sometimes, where you get stuck into this 9-to-5 grind. You don't let yourself have fun. And that's, again, the reason why I'm doing this podcast. You know, like, do what you want. Like, just learn to live a little. Take some motherfucking risks. Take some risks in your life. You know, I had nothing planned before I went to New York and LA, but it just ended up being a super fun 2-week birthday trip. Came back, and now I'm here recording this podcast. I'm not expecting anything. I'm just having fun. And I think that's where the most meaningful experiences come from your life, is when you're just having fun with everything and you're just doing it. There's like so much more I could say about both of the trips and both of the cities that I went to. But I think those were kind of like the most important things that I wanted to hit. Although, let me just talk about leaving LA. So every flight that I flew was direct, except for my flight back to Tampa. American didn't have like a flight, I guess, that was direct or whatever. And American just didn't even have a flight that I needed anyway. So I ended up going with this like newer airline called Breeze Airways, which this isn't free promo for you guys, so don't get too comfortable. Breeze, think like Frontier, Spirit, I think. At least I haven't really done research into them. They were pretty cool. And they were pretty cheap. I was a little confused because we had a layover, but during the layover, I just didn't get off the plane. Like, if you were going to Tampa still, you just stayed on the plane, and it was like half the plane cleared out, and then another set of people came in. So that was kind of interesting, because that's never happened to me during a layover. Or like I never had to do that. Every time I get on a layover, I'm getting on a new plane. It was kind of nice. I was like, okay, I don't have to get up. I had like my AirPods in. My routine for a flight is usually just like throw in my AirPods, listen to music for as long as I can. If I remember to download a movie or some shows before I go, I got a window seat, which I get really lucky on flights. Like I always get like a window seat. I don't know why, but I always do. My AirPod falls out. My right AirPod falls out, and it falls in between like the crack of my seat and like the plane. And there's like 2 other people beside me. So I'm trying to like shuffle in there to find the AirPod. Can't find it. I'm like ripping apart my plane seat. Like I was a little bit concerned how easy it was for me to like, it was like all strapped together with like Velcro or something. Digging in my hand. I think I like touched someone chewed gum or something. Still can't find the AirPod. So I grab my phone. I like go to Snapchat. I turn on the flash, and I'm like recording down there, trying to see if I can find it. It's like blurry because it's obviously dark under the seat. I eventually do it a couple more times and I see like where the AirPod is. I'm like, okay, I can see it. It's white. I know it's the AirPod, not like a piece of trash, because it has like the black part, except that it's behind the person's, like it's beside the person behind me's foot. So I'm like, ugh, okay, all right, it's fine. I turn around, the guy's knocked out. And I'm like, there's just no way I'm going to get this AirPod back, is it? I'm going to have to do the rest of this flight raw. I had one AirPod, but I was like, okay, well, I don't want to, like, I don't know what to do. I was kind of worried because I don't know, like the plane would like turn, you'd like bank right. And I'm like, oh, and then he'd like bank left. And I was like, oh God, this AirPod's going to go rolling down the airplane. I got it back. It was fine. At one point before like there was expected turbulence, the pilot comes on like the PA system or whatever. And it's like, oh, like if anyone needs to like get up and stretch, I do it now, whatever. I get up, go to the bathroom. I'm like, maybe the guy behind me will wake up and he'll like go. I come back, the guy's awake, and I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, I just felt like such a nuisance over this fucking AirPod. I felt so stupid, but I was like, I need that AirPod back because I still have like 4 more hours of this flight. I just am not doing it raw. They're shuffling around trying to find, they can't find it. The guy finds it, hands it to me. I felt bad because I swear airplane seats are getting smaller. Like, flight back was fine. Got to TPA, tried to exit. The guy was like, this exit's closed. I'm like, what do you mean the exit's closed? Like, let me leave. Like, I can see the exit right there. It was a crazy 2 weeks. And I don't know where I'm going to go next year for my birthday, but I know for sure that I will be going back to LA. I know for sure I'll be going back to New York. I think I'm supposed to be going to New York in October anyway, so that'll be fun. And if you've never been to any of those 2 places, I would totally recommend going. My producer actually just said that he's from California and that he went on The Price is Right. So that was pretty cool to hear. And he went during COVID though, and it was a completely different experience, which I think is so interesting. I'm sure I left out so much from this trip, and maybe if I think of any really funny or cool stories, I'll talk about them in other episodes. But I think we're going to wrap up the episode here. I just want to thank everyone else for watching the second episode. I'm so sorry if this episode felt all over the place. We're going to need to bear with me here while I figure out how I want to structure and format this podcast. So the first couple episodes are going to be a little rough, but if you stuck around, just thank you so much. What I need you to do though is wherever this, like if you're watching this on YouTube, you got to like it. You got to like the video. If you're listening to this on like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, I need you to go leave a review, 5 stars, like subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Again, the show is going to get taken off the air if you guys don't do it. Like, I need you to show some love, all right? You can go find me at Donald, 2 Ds at the end of Donald, Gray, Gray, on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, if that floats your boat. And then follow the Do What You Want Pod, Instagram and TikTok. It's at Do What You Want Pod, I'm pretty sure. I still don't have the accounts fully like set up. They're made, but okay, capiche? So do what you want with Donald Gray, new episodes every Saturday.